Break the Cycle, A Guide to Healing Intergenerational Trauma by Mariel Buch. Mariel Buch's Break the Cycle, A Guide to Healing Intergenerational Trauma is an in-depth exploration of the profound and far-reaching effects of trauma that transcends individual experiences and spans generations. This book serves as a compassionate roadmap for identifying, understanding, and ultimately breaking the cycles of harm that often bind families across decades. By blending personal anecdotes, therapeutic insights, and practical exercises, Buch equips readers with the tools to confront the inherited pain that impacts their mental health, relationships, and sense of self. The book begins by defining intergenerational trauma, offering a historical and psychological lens to help readers grasp its complexity. Buch carefully explains how trauma is not just an individual wound but a legacy, passed down through learned behaviors, communication patterns, and even genetic markers. The trauma might stem from personal family histories, such as abuse, neglect, or addiction, or larger systemic issues like colonization, slavery, war, and systemic oppression. These inherited wounds shape how families interact, communicate, and perceive the world, often perpetuating cycles of dysfunction. Buch's explanations are grounded in relatable and illustrative examples. For instance, she shares the story of a woman who struggles with chronic anxiety due to her family's unspoken rule against expressing emotions, a pattern rooted in her grandmother's survival of wartime trauma. Another example details a man who unconsciously pushes his children to achieve perfection, mirroring the relentless pressure he faced from his parents. These narratives are paired with thoughtful questions and prompts, inviting readers to examine their own lives and family histories. A key concept introduced early on is ancestral awareness, the practice of exploring and honoring one's lineage to better understand the roots of inherited trauma. Buch emphasizes that this process is not about assigning blame to previous generations but about cultivating empathy for their struggles while choosing to heal oneself. She introduces tools such as journaling about family patterns, constructing emotional family trees, and practicing guided meditations to connect with one's ancestors. These exercises encourage readers to balance acknowledgement of past pain with appreciation for the resilience and strength of those who came before them. The book also delves deeply into the cultural and systemic dimensions of intergenerational trauma, particularly its disproportionate effects on marginalized communities. Buch highlights how historical injustices, such as slavery, colonization, and systemic racism, continue to manifest as generational wounds in communities of color. For example, she discusses the lingering impacts of displacement on indigenous populations and the psychological toll of racial discrimination on Black families. While acknowledging these painful realities, Buch also celebrates the resilience, resourcefulness, and cultural pride that often emerge in the face of adversity. As the book progresses, Buch offers concrete strategies for breaking harmful cycles and fostering healing. These include setting boundaries with toxic family members, developing healthier communication habits, and practicing self-compassion. She also emphasizes the importance of therapy, encouraging readers to seek professional help when necessary. Her practical advice is accompanied by simple, actionable tools, such as mindfulness exercises, affirmations, and grounding techniques to manage emotional overwhelm. Buch's writing is particularly empowering when she discusses the role of the cycle breaker, an individual who chooses to confront and heal their family's trauma to create a healthier legacy for future generations. She explains that being a cycle breaker requires courage, self-awareness, and patience, as the process often involves difficult conversations and resistance from others. However, she reassures readers that this work is deeply rewarding, offering both personal liberation and a brighter future for their descendants. The final chapters expand the focus to collective healing, emphasizing the importance of community and systemic change. Buch calls for societal efforts to dismantle oppressive structures and create spaces for healing and growth, particularly for marginalized populations. Advocacy, activism, and community support are presented as essential components of breaking the cycle on a broader scale. Ultimately, Break the Cycle is both a guide and a source of hope. By weaving together science, soul, and strategy, Buke inspires readers to take ownership of their healing journey, honor their ancestors' legacies, and build a future defined by freedom, love, and resilience.